biohacking your fitness by introducing these principles into what you already do. So you don't have to learn something new. You just have to adopt some principles, some tweaks, some upgrades. Then you can get more benefit in less time. That's what we help you to achieve. So you don't have to constantly spend all day, all night in the gym. If you do that out of enjoyment, good for you. But for those of you who are entrepreneurs who don't have a lot of time, you want to get more impact for the time that you invest in that session, this module is for you. All right. Now I'll switch to the slide. Upgrade your current exercise routine with biohacking principles. So as business owners and entrepreneurs, our goal is to get kick-ass fitness, right? We want to use that to power our business and life ambitions. We want to get enough energy to reach that escape velocity, to achieve 6, 7 figures, 8 figures, whatever that may be, or to be a better father, to be a better human being. We need energy, we need power, and fitness is a key aspect of fitness, of energy and power. And this is where that's why we're here. What will you discover today? We're going to talk about the goals of an executive warrior from a fitness perspective to help debunk some myth and give you a bit of clarity. We're going to talk about how you can upgrade your fitness routine. The things that you already do day in and day out, week in or week out for exercise, we're going to upgrade it today. I'm going to go through some gotchas, things that people tend to get wrong when they first start biohacking their fitness, as well as what actions you can take today. It's all about the actions, as they say. All right, fitness goals. So this is where there's a lot of confusion, because most people think fitness, they think in terms of athletic performance, faster, jump higher, go further, last longer. That's the only dimension, but this is where, as an entrepreneur, we have a different perspective. We've got a more holistic or balanced view of what fitness needs to bring. And that's different to your personal trainer. It's very different to a competitive athlete, sports person, very, very different to that type of high performance. What we're here to focus is high executive performance. And that means it has to be time effective, right? That's the first pillars that we have to consider as entrepreneurs, because we don't have time to just spend all day doing these things to look good. We need to do that very quick and sharp and sweet. We need it to give us a lot of energy. Some exercises, if you do it in the wrong way, in the wrong quantity, it's actually an energy sucker rather than contributor to your business and personal goal. All right, that's another factor that where we differ from traditional sports training and personal training. All right, functional. Functionality is about being able to support your daily function, whether it's to bend your back to pick up your child, or something heavy at work, or potentially to avoid, someone trying to run you over and you're just trying to run away. It may be that, right? Or it's going to help you in your posture when you're sitting, so you're not having sore back constantly, or sore neck, that you're flexible and you're strong. You don't get carpal tunnel syndrome in your wrist, and therefore it's painful to type. So good exercise needs to contribute to a entrepreneur's function from physical and work perspective. And that's, again, deviating from traditional sporting purist perspective as a personal trainer. And you need to be aware of that. Aesthetics, that's how you look. Do you look good? Do you feel good? And, people think, well, that's just look. That's not very important. I argue otherwise, because aesthetics is also confidence. It's also perception. It's about how people see you. Do they trust you? When they look at you, do they feel that you're someone confident, like someone that can be trusted in the transformation, right? If I come in and I can't even transform my own life, I can't develop the habit, the grit to really change my diet and my fitness to be healthy, people are always having that on the back of their mind. Can I really trust this, obese, fat guy, Asian guy? Well, that was me, right? And that's the thing. Aesthetic is not just about look, but it's an important entrepreneurial consideration when it comes to fitness. You have to help contribute to that. And the other thing is you don't know is the belly fat is probably the worst type of fat that you can carry. It's biologically active. It's actually contributing to information of your brain, information of your body, which is a risk of diabetes, cardiovascular disease, depression, Alzheimer's, arthritis, autoimmune illness, chronic fatigue, multiple sclerosis, all kinds of things can, if you really trace their root cause, is linked to inflammation. So having a lot of fat on your belly, which is contributing to your inflammation 24 hours by 7, that's not a good thing. Getting rid of it is more than just good look. And the first sign of not have of a good aesthetic is to not have those inflammatory belly fat. Okay, so this is what I want to emphasize. It's not just aesthetic. These are all important pillars to consider when you're an executive warrior, when you want to perform at your best. Okay, focus and productivity is contributing to your ability to focus, to be productive. And this is where I want to mention a little bit about resilience. A big part of procrastination or being able to focus their mind to get things done to last the distance is because they're mentally weak. I don't want to demean or trying to, it's not ridicule, right? It's not saying you're weak-minded. I'm just pointing out the fact that if your mind is not strong enough to help you entertain the boredom of doing whatever you needed to do, or maybe the fear of doing that, your mind will give up, and therefore you won't be able to be productive, because a lot of the things we do may not be the most entertaining thing, but they're necessary. So having the mind to be able to carry those out is key for productivity and focus, and that's how you destroy procrastination. Having a strong body that's trained to support that, or having a fitness routine that will contribute to that ability to stay focused and productive, is another important factor or pillar for an executive warrior. And lastly, but not least, are you enjoying it? If you can't enjoy your exercise, it won't last, right? This is about sustained transformation for life, to transform how you function. So enjoyment is a key aspect of the executive goal or concern, things that you need to watch out for. A lot of popular forms of exercise will sacrifice one of these or several one of them, okay? So this is something that you may not be aware of when you look at exercise, and I want to point that out to you so you can make that conscious decision. It's not me telling you what to do, it's just pointing out what is. If you look at cycling and jogging, a lot of executives I coach do cycling. Some of them are very serious about their biking. They go and follow the Tour de France route. When they go to Europe, when they're on a break. Other people do marathons at 4 a.m. in the morning, okay? So they're very serious about it, but look at this diagram. I'm trying to highlight all the goals, all the executive warrior goals that we as entrepreneurs are concerned with. It's not equally balanced when you do these type of sports. So let's have a better look at this, right? So in terms of time effectiveness, most marathons will take an hour, 2 hours, a lot of time. So in terms of time effectiveness, if you got time to burn, that's great. If you don't have the time, that's not so great. So it's not very time effective. So that is one thing that it does sacrifice. Another aspect that you do sacrifice is just look at a long marathon runner, look at their physique, usually very skinny, very thin, a stick. Okay, so I think I'll leave that to your judgment whether you like that physique, or would you like to look like Usain Bolt, right, as a guy, or I can't think of a really good female athlete, maybe Serena Williams. What kind of physique do you want to look like? a thin stick that walk, half skeleton. So anyway, sorry, I apologize, marathon friends. I don't mean to demean you, but I'll leave that halfway. Okay, it's not great, it's not bad either. So that is something you are doing when you do all you do is cycling and jogging. How functional is it? Well, it doesn't train you to run backwards. It doesn't train your agility. It doesn't necessarily improve your flexibility. It does. So in terms of functional contribution to the executive warrior goals, I would say it's quite low. In terms of focus and productivity, it's arguable, right? But I don't think that's the goal. The goal is for cycling and jogging is primarily enjoyment. It gives them a post-run high. That's why they do it. They love it. And they feel good about it, right? But it's not something they have to do mental. It's almost like it's you get into, and this is the state that's been described to me. When you go into run, you go into this flow zone where you're really not thinking. It's a place of relaxation. So for them, it's really all about this getting energy and the enjoyment that provides, which is helpful. But then it's not about putting you through a form of suffering where you need to be mindful in controlling and building your mental resilience and toughness. So that's not the objective. Why I'm pointing out this is you can argue with me about any of these factors. What I want you to be aware of, it doesn't matter what the number is. You need to understand what the goal and objective of your chosen sport. And you can then decide how can we upgrade this, make it more rounded. You don't have to change your sport. You can love it, but just be understanding, right? Just look at the truth. The truth is there are compromises in terms of some of these goals, and this is something you need to be aware of. Let's look at another example, bodybuilding. Again, different focus, different area, but you can see that bodybuilding is very much aesthetics. It's all about the look, hypertrophy, right? Getting your bicep to be bigger than the size of a coconut, right? That is what you're looking for, right? So that's the goal. In terms of time effective, I would say that it's not very effective because often you need to go to gym almost daily, work 5 days, 4 days, at least to get that physique, to get that look. It's great for grit, for building grit, because often pushing yourself to failure, it takes a particular kind of mental conditioning to be able to do that on a consistent basis. But it does suck energy. Normally, if you talk to professional bodybuilders, often they're very tired. They're actually very fatigued. Sometimes they can get very low on testosterone. They literally lose their sex drive and lose their mojo. And that's the thing, that it's not necessarily designed to give you energy. And in terms of functionality, it's not very high. So you don't learn balance, you don't learn how to tumble, you don't learn how to break fall, you don't learn how to be flexible. So a lot of them can't even touch their toes, right? Because that's not the goal. Again, not bagging bodybuilding, but I just want to put that out there. Whatever you choose, be conscious of what you're sacrificing and what you're getting. As executive warriors, these are the 6 things that you need to pay attention to, because these things contribute to your fitness, not just your fitness, but your executive function, your productivity, your ability to to develop grit. Those are all important factors. And if you do not acknowledge this and you just choose to bury your head in the sand, well, that is how, that's how you how to underlive your potential, right? Because you'll just decide to walk around with a blindfold. That's not going to help you, right? So I'm bringing this to your awareness. So biohack effectiveness. So biohack fitness is about having all. And how do we achieve this? I want to introduce you to 3 biohacking principles. When you apply this to no matter what sport you already do, you improve its effectiveness. You improve its return on investment, right? It's about finding that mojo that's going to supercharge your workout. What is it? You want to increase intensity. You want to increase recovery, and you want to increase mindfulness. Okay? So increase intensity is to consciously and deliberately pushing the effort, like really pushing intensity, so much so that you're literally operating 120% of VO2 max, where you can't sustain that intensity for anything longer than a minute or 90 seconds. That is intensity. If you can introduce that to your workout, you'll automatically boost the effectiveness of your workout. Therefore, you can cut off the duration of your workout and still enjoy the majority of the benefit you will get out of that exercise. And I'll go through some example of what that look like from the two popular sports I picked prior to show you how that works. Then you can introduce conscious upgraded recovery, and that is, rather than just puffing and returning to baseline and taking however long it takes, you're going to consciously and effortfully in working on your relaxation response. What do I mean by that, Steve? Let me give you an example. Did my intense 20-second burst. I'm puffed. So I can go, which is just waiting however long it takes to recover. Or I can be conscious and effortful in recovery, which looks like this. See, what I'm doing is I'm taking fast breath in, and I'm consciously, deliberately, and effortfully slowing down the breath out. And that will help me recover my heart rate much faster than if I did nothing at all. Another trick you can do, and this is being validated, there's a particular research paper which is really fascinating to show, which shows that if you, after your intense burst, if you can lay down flat on the ground, your recovery is increased exponentially, and therefore you can actually work harder during your intense workout. And if you do that, right, remember this is a biohacking principle, you can get more impact. You don't have to do as many workouts throughout the week or as long as you currently have. You can dramatically reduce the time required and still get the benefit, right? That's what biohackers do, right? Okay, so recovery is conscious and effortful. And what I want to share with you is mindfulness. Lastly, the last biohacking principle that will increase the benefit of what you do. And that is when you give 100% mental energy. So let me see if I can bring a weight to demonstrate this. Okay, I've got a bottle, right? Obviously very light. Now if I do my weight training, let's say I'm just using this as an example, I can be mindful in how I contract every muscle as I flex, right? I can be conscious in feeling my muscle. We call this interoception. It's experiencing the internal structure of feeling of your body. As I watch it go up, I can literally mentally flex my bicep almost if I'm doing something really, really heavy. Okay? And then I consciously relax, right? And I flex, right? Just really conscious on flexing, and then consciously relax. That's called mindfulness. And that, try it with some light weights. If you're really conscious on flexing your muscle, you will automatically feel a huge difference to effectiveness of your workout. So instead of doing 10, you might only need to do 7. And then you feel just as sore, right? Just as pumped as you've done 10 or 12 or 15. That's a time booster. It's a time effectiveness booster. And you don't need as heavy as a piece of weight. Right? There's an interview done recently by Andrew Huberman who goes into the science of why that works. Because your mind, your central nervous system, is releasing acetylcholine, right? And that is helping with the contraction. It's this mind and nerve, there's nerve endings like that. That pathway reinforcement is what builds up when you do this mindful contraction and relaxation of your exercise. And whether you're biking or you're running, pay attention to what's going on in your body and consciously and effortfully increase the intensity and the movement and whether it's, and every body trainer, every personal trainer knows this. This correctness of technique. When I'm doing a lat pull down, right? Am I contracting my back, right? Is it contracted? Is it effortful? Rather than listening to my music mindlessly, just do 15. You're gonna need a lot more time to get a benefit. But then if you're mindful and consciously focus on every single repetition, every single relaxation, right? Relaxation is the opposite. You're consciously breathing and you're visualizing your body soften, relaxing. It's mental control. It's not just physical. You're using the body to reach the mind, but using your mind to reach the body. It works together in conjunction. That is how you boost your effectiveness. All right, let us go back to the slide. Intensity, recovery, and enhanced mindfulness means time effectiveness, right? It means you can get all the goals for the executive warrior and everything that we care about in less time, right? So how do you do that in terms of what you already do, right? And what benefit does it actually bring? We're going to cover those two right now. So the benefit, you literally burn more fat in less time. 24/7, the increased intensity will mean, and the mindfulness and the recovery, it means you build more muscles, you burn more fat, increase your metabolism for longer than if you simply do mindless cardio, chronic cardio that you just run forever. You will burn more energy. It increases your metabolism by a significant margin and last a lot longer. We call that the afterburn effect. You can go and Google that. Afterburn effect is actually increased when you do high intensity training or high intensity interval training. Wouldn't you like that, right? You fast improvement in cardiovascular fitness. So Tabata protocol, TABATA, look it up. It's very effective for improving cardiovascular fitness, which in a lot less time than chronic cardio, which is your long distance running, long distance cycling that you do for long periods of time and just repeat over and over. You don't need as much time. You can make the same improvement in much less time. Improves your blood sugar metabolism, so reduce risks of type 2 diabetes. And it does that, of course, in less time. Improve endurance in less time. This mindfulness about controlling your body for both intensity and relaxation literally toughens your mind. It gives you this Navy SEAL warrior mindset, right? It's about that grit to go through the tough time, to go through the difficult time and endure and know that you can overcome. You're an overcomer. This is a training, mental training. It's not just physical. I want to emphasize this mental aspect. A lot of people overlook this from fitness. They think it's just about losing weight. No. It's as much about the mind as of the body, and it's up to you whether, when you incorporate that element, this is how you get 2 for the price of 1. Okay. Endurance, build more muscle in less time, more benefit in less time, basically, right? Okay, how do you upgrade your routine? So I'm going through the benefit. How do we apply it? Let's take an example. All right, so we talked about exercise routine, we're going to follow the 3 rules of intensity. Okay? When you push, make sure that you push so hard it can't last more than a minute. Okay? And then you don't want the entire end-to-end duration is less than 30 minutes. So no kind of 2-hour marathon. Okay? That's not you using the principle. If you want to get the benefit of your marathon and you love to run, this is the modification you will make. You'll make it so intense, you can't last more than 30 minutes in total, in duration. And each intense duration of running, it need to fully exhaust you in less than 1 minute. That's the increased intensity. That's what that looks like. Recovery, make sure it's a conscious, effortful recovery and rest, and it's weaved in between your intensity session. And lastly, mindfulness, pay attention to your muscles, your movement, your balance, your mental state, right? Develop your skills in interoception, like this observation of what's going on in your body. And that's how, now that you understand these principles, know that studies have shown when you apply these principles well, you can literally work out in less than 15 minutes and get the same benefit as jogging for flat out for like 1.5 hours. I'm not kidding. Go and look up any research around high intensity interval training. Body by Science by Doug McGuff. There's a ton of books, but I'm not going to go into that. But just for your awareness that these are validated principle that works in the cutting edge science. It's not popular mainstream, but it is there. The research papers are out there. So what does it mean to apply when I cycle? It means you can add intense bursts of 20 seconds, right? It's really hard. Push. 20 seconds on, weave in with 2 minutes of relaxed cycling, consciously recovering, and then do another intense session and then recover, right? So this might be familiar as high intensity interval training, but notice that you actually don't need to do it for as long to get the benefit. It's the intensity in the recovery is the key. You can literally buy a bike that programs that in, and the protocol that this implement is called reduced exertion high intensity interval training, also known as REHIT. It was actually published in a journal of Front Psychiatry as a way to help with sleep, people suffering from sleep problem, because it's so low impact that it doesn't matter what your fitness level is. Anyone can pretty much do 2 intense 20-second sprints and then have 2-minute rest and do it again, and that's it. That's their entire workout, right? Just do that 6 weeks, 3 times a week with just very little time. I think it's about 10 minutes or 5 minutes, something like that. But 6 weeks of REHIT, this format, training 3 times a week. In that study, it improved the VO2 max in sedentary subject, which means they don't exercise. They're like couch potatoes, if we will call them. The exercise REHIT improved their cardiovascular risk, improve their insulin sensitivity, improve their fitness in as little as just 3 times a week. And we're looking at 2 intense 20-second burst plus 2 times 2 minutes of cycling, right? So like imagine the time effectiveness, no more chronic. You don't have to run forever. Mindfully engage your muscles when you fully push hard and when you fully relax. That's how you transform a traditional cycling exercise to a biohack version, which dramatically improves the effectiveness and the value you get from your time, but then reduces the time needed to achieve those outcomes. Okay, so you can do that. That's called REHIT. I'll put that on the screen there. If you do want to do gym, okay, you love weights, introduce unstable weight, sufficiently heavy, so heavy that you can't do more than 90 seconds of it, right? That's a way of pushing out intensity. And one thing that I can show you is get to love these things. You will have seen that in the gym if you know how to use it. This is a, I think, 18 kilogram or 39 pound or 38 pound kettlebell. Okay, what that does is unstable, right? It's not centered, and you swing it, and that increases the intensity dramatically compared to stable weights at a weight station. That's applying that intensity principle to up the ante, and for you to do it in such a intense state that you can't last for a long duration and you have to have a break. Then weave in your intense conscious recovery, right? Make sure once you finish your set, recover with breath, quieten your heart, relax your muscle. Okay? Engage, and then that relaxation, when you go into the actual lift session, be mindful. Don't just listen to music and tune out. Consciously engage every single muscle, feel every movement, whether you're doing a kettlebell swing or you're doing a lift and shift, whatever that may be conscious of your movement, right? Center your body, make sure you're doing correct technique. And that is not just going to improve your effectiveness, you will prevent injuries, right? That you don't want to get injured. Okay, how many times should you do this? So this upgraded intensity, it means it's very challenging for your central nervous system. It's very challenging for your body. What that means is you don't need to, and you should not need to do it too frequently. Use the protocol 1 to 2 times a week. If you can do it more than that without suffering consequences like fatigue or low testosterone, poor sleep, what that means is you're probably not, your intensity is nowhere near enough where it needs to be. But if you do this right, you really only want to do this 1 to twice a week. Right? Make sure you're conscious of your recovery. You can measure using a Oura ring. You can measure using all kinds of devices, but conscious of your recovery to make sure you're ready to tackle at the next session. Do not do more than once or twice. And other times, just do what you love to do, right? This is not the only exercise. What I'm saying is those 6 pillars that we care about, those 6 goals, exactly warriors, this is the faster way to achieve your goal. What that means is you free up the time to do whatever you want. And that time could be just purely doing something for enjoyment's sake. Go for a jog, go and play, meet people. You can use that to create connections, right? It's more time effective, so you have free time to do what you want. Okay, so some gotchas I want to cover. First of all, I mentioned lack of real intensity because it's tough on the mind. For a lot of people, they're not really aware what the mind is capable of. Chances are, if you think you can't do any more, it's too tough, you can probably push out more. And that's important for effectiveness, for you to push out and go for real intensity. Okay? The other thing that people often, especially executives I coach, they've got this work hard, play hard mentality. So they think a little exercise, oh, Steve, you asked me to do 1 session. I'm going to do 5 sessions every day. No, more is not necessarily better. This takes out a lot out of your central nervous system, a lot out of your mind, a lot out of your body. More is not better, right? This is about effectiveness. And I want to just give a real example. A lot people confuse sporting achievement with peak performance. They're not the same thing. So you might have an aim to get a really pumped up physique like a bodybuilder, or maybe you want to run 100 marathons. Okay, but what that means is there's a cost when you push yourself so hard. I say once or twice a week when you do something like that. If you do more, you can literally destroy your energy, your mood, your libido. And this is Alex Fergus. Look at this guy, right? He's a bodybuilder, and if you look at that guy and you I mean, I ask you, do you think this guy is low on sex drive, low on libido, sleep poorly, have mood swings all day? Would you believe me? No, right? Because they look so good. But the idea is this is everything I say is actually what he was feeling. So this is something that you need to be aware. Just because a little bit is good, more is not always better. Okay, your actions today. I've gone over the principles and how you can leverage it to upgrade your current workout routine. Share in the community, right? What you've learned about fitness, what you want to do, how you want to upgrade your existing routine to better achieve your Executive Warrior fitness goals. And do you have any questions? Ask in the community and I'll make sure they get answered. All right, today it's a fairly long module because we're introducing a lot of the key biohacking principles. I've also shown you some of the downfalls or the sacrifices you make with traditional way of doing certain sports, like cycling, like jogging, and I'm also giving you a way of how you can upgrade that so you can get the same benefit, but reduce this duration so you can free up more time to do what you love. Any questions, let me know. I look forward to seeing you in the next Biohack Warrior Fitness Playbook module. Take care. God bless.